What's up, everybody? How y'all doing? It is your girl, your diva, and knowledge, Lady Mocha, represent Mocha's Cafe de Paris, where I'm always serving you wisdom, knowledge, and spiritual awareness. Want to welcome y'all to my late chat. I know it's late, so for those of you who won't catch my live, I'm going to leave my upload up. So, in the event you don't catch my live stream, you'll just be able to view the recorded archive of tonight's content. So I thought it was imperative that I definitely went into this. It's been all over the Black YouTube sector. I don't have to go into a lot of details about it because I'm sure most of y'all have already heard that blogger Tasha K is definitely under fire right now. She's unfortunately really put herself in a bad situation. And it's all due to the fact that she has been getting information pertaining to R.Kelly, inmate. Of course, he's an inmate right now in a facility. And basically, he had already exposed that blogger Tasha K has been putting his information out there, personal information from the facility where he is currently incarcerated. So I'm going to go ahead and read what's going on. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but feds investigated Bureau of Prisons employee leaked R.Kelly info to blogger. The employee had accused Kelly's records 150 times in 2019, even though she was not assigned to Chicago's federal lockup and had no official reason to access them. Federal authorities looked into whether a now retired Bureau of Prisons employee leaked information about R&B singer R. Kelly to an internet blogger, Tasha K, while Kelly was locked up in Chicago's downtown federal jail records show. Okay, so this was during his incarceration. Prosecutors sought a judge's permission in February 2020 to search the employee's computer, following a report to the BOP's Office of Internal Affairs that blogger Tasha K has shared information that was available to BOP employees. That's according to an affidavit written by a special agent with the Justice Department's Office of the Inspector General. The affidavit was unsealed in federal court in Chicago August 18th as Kelly's racketeering trial got underway in earnest in Brooklyn. Though it identifies Kelly only as inmate A, it refers to him as a nationally recognized celebrity whose criminal case has received medical media attention. The BOP employees is identified only as Officer A. So, of course, they're trying to keep everything kind of secluded. Okay, sorry about that. So, as you can see, this is not a pleasant situation right now. A lot of the bloggers have been going in on this now. First of all, let me start off by saying this. I don't know a whole lot about Tasha K. I was once upon a time, hush. I was once upon a time a subscriber of hers, and I did used to follow a lot of her content. And I will say this, she was one of the few that somewhat inspired me to become a blogger. The only difference is, she does more celebrity gossip. I just wanted to do content, based on real life scenarios and things of that nature. But she was one of the few that pretty much inspired me to want to get into blogging. So before I go in dragging and talking bad, what's up, Roll the Tape and Queen of the South and everybody else? Before I go in talking reckless or whatever, or giving my opinion on this, I will first start off and tell you the good things. So I did used to follow her at one point in time. A lot of the content she used to do when she first started out was very authentic. A lot of content she did, she gave a lot of good advice, and she shared a substantial amount of wisdom. So that's what I initially liked about Tasha K. But like most content creators, once they start getting a certain amount of fans, once they start getting a certain amount of subscribers, it gets to their ego. The bigger this, the more the subscribers increase, the more the views increase. So does the ego. So does the arrogance. And I've said this a lot of times that arrogance will eventually bring exposure. Arrogance will eventually bring exposure. So, like most content creators, they start off, genuine. They start off authentic. They start off being really down to earth with their content. But once the views and the super chats and the donations start rolling in, it starts to get to their heads, and it gets to a point, and a lot of them are doing it right now. A lot of bloggers, they start off as nobodies. They get a few views here and there. They may get some $10, $5 super chats, but once those super chats start increasing and going from 20 to 50 to 100, they start smelling themselves. They get beside themselves. They think they could say what they want. They think they can do what they want. They have this sense of arrogance in which they feel like I'm the one on the top of the game now. So I can say what I want. I could do what I want. And it's nothing wrong with being proud of your accomplishments when you have gone from only having maybe 200 to 300 subscribers, and now you're getting over 20,000, 30,000 subscribers. But what a lot of these bloggers are not understanding, the bigger you become in this game, the bigger the responsibility. You have to be even more careful, because now as you get big in the game and you manifest and you grow as a blogger, especially in the Black YouTube sector, basically you become a walking bullseye. You become a walking target, meaning that it don't take much to say the wrong thing, to do the wrong thing, and for you to lose everything that it took you so hard, that it took you so much work into building. Now, this is not to say she's going to lose everything behind this, that her world is going to crumble. It's still way too early in the game for anybody to make any assumptions, and that's why I'm really not going to go in on Tasha K a whole lot. The queen, we got to give the queen respect of what is due. She was one of the biggest pioneers, and she still is. But the bigger you become, the bigger the haters, the bigger the lawsuits. You got people looking for you to say and do the wrong thing at any given moment. That's the only curse that comes along with being a successful blogger. Everybody wants to be big. Everybody wants to be the first to have a hot popping story. Everybody wants to be the head dog in the YouTube Black sector. They want to be the first to put a story out. They want to be the first to break the mold, to hit that plateau and reach a certain level that a lot of content creators such as myself is still struggling to reach. So keep in mind, as a content creator, you can become very obsessed with views to the point you will do anything, you will say anything to stay on top, because there's a lot of competition in the YouTube sector, especially in the Black YouTube sector. It's a lot of crab in the barrels. People waiting for you to mess up so they can tear down your platform. Look at Sonetta. Look at Derek Jackson. It's a lot of example of successful YouTubers that got caught up in a scandal, got exposed. And guess who usually exposes YouTubers? Guess who usually, I mean, let me rephrase that. Guess who usually exposes content creators? Other content creators. Every content creator that has ever been exposed, it came from another content creator. Again, like I say, it's this crab in a barrel mentality where people are going to stop at nothing to try to get your spot. They waiting for you to slip. They waiting for you to mess up. They waiting for a scandal to come out. They can't wait for one of your enemies to come out and expose you so they can do a 2-3 hour interview with them on their platform. And next thing you notice, a lot of these content creators are exposing other content creators so they can steal their audience, so they can steal their subscribers. They can pretty much pull a rug from up under another content creator's foot. Okay. Exactly, roller tape. Facts. The bigger you get, the more haters and the docs the hell out of you. That is one reason why I'm okay with being up under 5,000 subscribers. If I get more, I'm grateful for that. If I don't get any bigger than what I am, I'm grateful for that as well, because I do know that the bigger you become, your haters will increase. You have to walk a thin line, because there's somebody that's waiting for you to slip and do the wrong thing at the wrong time so they can expose you. And it's people that's waiting to catch you in a predicament in which they can expose that you are not what you teach, you are not what you preach, you are not what you present yourself to be. You have people in the audience that they're sitting in front end center seats. They're in front row, just waiting for you to mess up, waiting for you to make a bad decision. And trust and believe, all of us are human beings. You're going to mess up. I have messed up. Everybody in this chat room has messed up. But this is the problem. When people place you on a pedestal, this is the reason why I don't want anybody worshiping me. I'm okay if nobody worships me. I'm okay if everybody's not going around here quoting Mocha quotes. I'm okay with that, because when people start putting you on a pedestal, that is when you have to really walk a thin line, because the moment you make a mistake, the moment you have a slip, the moment you get yourself involved in an unpleasant situation, everybody who worshiped you and everybody who praised you, now they're disgusted by you. Now they're dragging you. Now they done snatch that crown off your head that made you the king, that made you the queen. What's up, Beyond? Blessings to you, sir. Good to see you. One thing about her, she does her homework before she puts stuff out most of the time. Yep. And even the best blogger, sometimes, no matter how much you be on point with your game, you can slip. You can mess up. And that is the part where people have to be mindful, where people don't dehumanize you. You could be so great at what you do, roll the tape. You can be so great at what you do that the moment you fail, you lose all credibility. That is the bad part. So that's the thing about being a professional and an expert. The moment you falter, the moment you make a mistake and you flounder, people will forget about all the other 800 times you came through. The one time you don't come through, they dismiss all the other 800, 2,000 times that you did do it right. Because again, the bigger you become as a content creator, the more targets are on your back. What's up to my sis, my queen Ruby? Ruby, I had thought about you and my girl Kels. I got to get with y'all. I know it's been you doing your own thing, and I've always been able to keep up with Kels, but I kind of you kind of fell off by the wayside, and I know it's because we both been busy. It's been no pun intended. So anyway, I'll email you and see when we can do another panel chat or whatever. So anyway, for everybody who's coming in here talking about your girl Tasha K, right now she's under investigation. And the reason why I'm talking about the story is not so much about Tasha K, but I want to bring into account the officer who leaked all of R.Kelly's personal information within the correctional facility to Tasha K. So just to give y'all the basic kindergarten situation version, because it's 1,000 bloggers that are talking about it, and I really don't want to talk about the whole elements of it, but just to give y'all the basic foundation of what's going on. Your girl Tasha K has been relaying a lot of information about R. Kelly. Now, nothing is wrong with that. That is what she does for a living. That's how she makes. That's the foundation of her platform. She's a celebrity gossip blogger. Okay, so the problem with that is that R. Kelly brought it up in court and exposed her for putting out personal information that no one should know, as in regards to who is ever in the facility. It's personal information R. Kelly had as an inmate that was supposed to be due to him as confidential. But because Tasha K has a lot of connection, she has a lot of pull, she was able to connect with one of the officers at the prison, at the jail where R. Kelly was incarcerated at the time. Because Tasha K has said on numerous occasions that she has a plug. And so basically, she hooked up with a female officer at the facility, and basically the female officer was relaying information that no one outside of that jail should have known. And anybody who's in corrections, I think I'm beyond in the chat room. I think he's in corrections. I'm not sure if he is or he used to be. But anybody that's in corrections, and that's why I'm speaking on this, because I'm speaking on this as far as being a correctional officer. When you're in this type of line of work, it's a major violation when an officer is bribed by a YouTube content creator to leak information about an inmate. And that is where my perspective is coming in at. As a correctional officer, whoever this officer is, who Tasha K was paying to get this information from R. Kelly, who was an inmate at that particular correctional facility, her ass is grass, basically. Okay, that's the main part I want to address. Thank you, Roller Tape, for the $5 donation. Mocha's Cafe de Paris, you speaking facts. People love your shows, but when you make one of them disagree with you, they become your enemy. This is facts. Oh, yes, of course, roll the tape. Like Kwame Brown used to say, Kwame Brown, the go along, get along. Once you don't go along and get along with the narratives, then you pretty much are evicted. People stop coming to your channel. They stop supporting you. They stop cash apping. That is why I don't want no one to worship me. I don't want nobody to praise me and put me on the pedestal, because I'm going to let all y'all know. And I love all my subscribers. I don't know none of y'all asses personally, except for the one, two that I talk to. I'm going to disappoint you because I'm a human being. I'm going to disappoint you. I'm going to let you down. I don't want none of y'all putting me on the pedestal. I don't want nobody praising me like I'm the savior. I'm Jesus' first wife. I don't want anybody praising me, worshiping me, and defending all of my topic points to other people who may not rock with me like that, because I'm going to fail you. I'm going to fail you. At some point, I'm going to disappoint you because I'm a human being. I don't have it all together. There's still areas in my life where I am still struggling and I'm still trying to get it together. So I don't want nobody praising and worshiping me like Mocha can't do no wrong. Mocha got it all together. Because even those of us who preach wisdom and knowledge, and although we may preach in areas in which we're not failing in, we still have failures in other areas in our lives. And that is the part. A lot of these content creators, when they start getting big, they let their arrogance and they let their popularity make them feel as if they have the right to criticize, critique, and drag other people. And the moment they slip and they fall and they have a moment of failure, all of a suddenly they got all kind of excuses. But when it came to other people messing up, you didn't have no mercy for other people. Now that the exposure is on you, you want empathy and you want sympathy. Read some of y'all comments. I know. Yeah, I'm gonna email you, Rubes. So we'll get it together. We will get it together. Okay, I'm the webmaster. Okay, so you control the web in the facility on beyond. If you do, please let me know, because I know you can definitely add to this. So, exactly. Yep, that's facts. They lose touch with reality. They forget to be humble, and that leads to their destruction. And honestly, that has always been my problem with a lot of content creators. I'm not hating on any of these content creators that are successful, that have a large fan base, that are hot in the game. My issue is when they get beside themselves. I love to see Black women do well. I love to see Black men do well. I love to see Black people do well as content creators. But what I can't stand is the pride, the haughtiness, the arrogance, the thinking everyone is beneath you. You talking to people all kind of way. You disrespectful. You don't care who feelings you hurt. That's my problem with a lot of the content creators. Got nothing to do with they get more cash apps than me. It has nothing to do with they got more subscribers. They got more popularity. Somebody that's to be expected. Anytime you're into I don't care if you're working at a job or if you're a content creator, somebody's going to always be bigger than you. But my thing is the arrogance and the disrespect that a lot of these content creators display. And that has always been my problem with Tasha K. I'm honestly, I've been stopped following her. I've unsubscribed from her every bit of maybe 5-6 years ago. I'm not a foe of Tasha K, but I'm not a fan. I'm neither one. So I want to go into this situation with being a correctional officer, because whenever you first are hired as a correctional officer at a prison facility or at a jail correctional institution, it's a very extensive process. And On Beyond could attest to this. It's not like applying to Burger King or Walmart or Foot Locker. And it's no disrespect to any of y'all if you work there. Money is money, as long as you paying your bills. I don't care what you do. When it comes to corrections, it's an extensive process. I remember when I put in my application as a correctional officer, it took them damn near 3 months to hire me, because that is how long it takes. And anybody that's in law enforcement, I don't care if you're corrections, I don't care if you're police officer, I don't care if you're becoming a 911 dispatcher. It's a long, extensive background, because when it comes to law enforcement, Burger King, these other places of employment, they don't do thorough background checks. With law enforcement, the problem is they have systems in which they can pull up things you have done even at the age of 10 years old. If you violated a juvenile, if you could have committed a juvenile offense, although your record may have been expunged, because believe it or not, I had a juvenile offense for shoplifting. I had a juvenile offense when I was 14, 15. My record got expunged, but law enforcement, the criminal justice system, they was able to pull that record, even though I was every bit of 15, 14 years old at that time. They didn't hold it against me. But what I'm saying is law enforcement has a more thorough, extensive background check search system that can pick up anything. Certain offenses people have committed has been expunged off their record, has been restricted. Law enforcement, they can pull up any crime you have committed. It don't matter if it was 20 years ago. It don't matter if it was 40 years ago. It's still in the database. But what it is, you have some people that will do what's called a record restriction request, meaning, let's say if you committed a crime at 13 years old, you got caught stealing out the store, and you went to juvenile for that. You can actually request to get that removed off your record. That way, when you go and apply for a job, it's not there. They're not going to see it. But guess what? In law enforcement, they will be able to pick up anything you have ever done. It don't matter if you did it when you was 3 years old. They have it in their database. Yeah, Queen, and like I said, she's just like I said. I don't knock what she does. I don't knock her hustle, but Tasha K, like a lot of these content creators, she got beside herself. Because she kept dodging a bullet. With Cardi B, all of these celebrities that came at her, she kept dodging a bullet. And what it did was it made her more cocky. It made her feel more invincible. Not only my issue with her from what I know, because like I said, I've never talked to her like that. I don't know her from a can of paint. Not only has Tasha K provoked and poked the bear with a lot of these celebrities, she has, from what I heard, allegedly, she has done a lot of other content creators in, like Armand Owens, Lovely T, people who was really loyal to her. This is what I heard. I don't know. Content creators that was loyal to her, that collaborated with her. I've heard just about every content creator she's ever collaborated with. They all have fallen out with her. None of them speak with her, and that makes me wonder, when you have so much turmoil, when you have a lot of beef, and you have a lot of people that stop rocking with you, and all of them are saying the same thing. It's been more than one content creator who I have heard said that Tasha K is a user. She will get in cool with you to get to where she needs to be. And once you have helped her to get to a certain position, she pretty much gets rid of you like a bag of donations at the Goodwill Center. Now, this is what I heard. I don't know. I've heard this from more than one content creator that have said, I don't trust her. I don't deal with her. She burnt the bridge with me. I have heard several content creators, and when more than one person is saying the same thing, that makes me question your character. Now, if it's maybe one or two, but it's been several content creators that have fallen out with her, and so you got some people like Tasha K who don't mind burning bridges because they already feel like they have arrived. They already feel like they are on top. So they don't mind burning bridges along the way, because the way they look at it, like, shit, I'm doing good. I got X amount of subscribers. I'm getting X amount of donations. I'm good. You got people who get to a certain place, and it's a lot of content creators. They forgot where they came from. They forgot when they was nobodies, when they was doing damn content in their garages, when they was doing content on other people's panels as a square. Nobody even knew who they was. Nobody even paid them any attention. And all of a sudden, once they get this overnight success, they basically have nothing to do with the people that started out with them when there was a nobody. It's a couple of them, and I'm not gonna say their names because a lot of y'all are faithful church members because y'all like to worship and praise these certain content creators, but it's certain ones who nobody knew who they were when they was on these panels with a group of other people. They was like the nerdy kid in the classroom that nobody even acknowledged. But all of a sudden, once they got a big break and a big opportunity, and opportunity, presented itself to where they was able to progress expeditiously and do great and earn a large fan base overnight when it took other people years. They act like they did it all alone, like they've been doing it all by themselves, when it took other people who gave them that floor, who gave them that moment to shine on their platform. And now that they got all this notoriety, they don't feel like they got to pay homage or pay dues to the ones who started off with them and gave them a break when nobody else knew who they were. So basically, what's going on is, like I stated, when you are a correctional officer, they do a lot of extensive background checks, like I stated. So they check everything. Not only when you seek a career in corrections or law enforcement, they don't do just regular like Burger King. They just look at your application. They may call 1 or 2 references. These people actually come to your house. I've had sergeants and lieutenants come into my home before they hired me. They didn't just go by what was on my application. They wanted to see how I lived. So if anybody who's thinking about pursuing law enforcement, keep in mind they're going to make a personal visit to your house. You're not just going to fill out an application and that's it. They do a personal home visit. Anyone who lives in your home with you. So if you got a baby daddy or a girlfriend, wife, or husband who has a criminal record with serious criminal offenses, they're not going to hire you just based on the fact that you are married or you have this person living in your household. So not only do they investigate you, they investigate who you live with. When I apply for corrections, they also check my husband's background. So it just wasn't me, they also had to check him out. They had to make sure that they was not about to hire someone within their correctional facility who is somehow in some way affiliated to a possible child molester, to a possible criminal, to a rapist, or whatever. So they will check anybody who's in your household. And I've seen officers who come in and get turned away, not because they did anything wrong, but because they living with people that got criminal records. There was one young female. She was young and dumb. I already knew she wasn't fit for the job just by the fact that she had no problem telling people, because they ask you up front, hey, we need to know, are you related to anybody? Is there anybody? The question was, is there anybody in your household that has a criminal record? Or do you live with anyone in their household who has a criminal record? This broad, she was so young and dumb. She said, oh yeah, my aunt, yeah, I forgot, she got a criminal record. They tossed the application right then and there and told her, thank you for coming, but we won't need you. So that was pretty much the end of that. See what y'all talking about. Yeah, I remember when she did Lovely TN. Yeah, so just to keep y'all up on game, Queen is kind of giving y'all a narrative of it. Ruby, a lawsuit is better than the feds coming after the warden caught wind of the show and reported it. The now retired officer who provided the 411 had her laptop confiscated by Warren. So what's up, GTENT? To put y'all up on game for everybody who's coming in the chat room, Tasha K is under fire right now, due to the fact that she's been leaking a lot of information about R.Kelly. And the problem with leaking that information was R.Kelly was an inmate at a correctional facility during the time. And there was a female officer known as Officer A who Tasha K was paying so the officer could leak information. The officer was leaking a lot of information to Tasha K. She was letting Tasha K know all the phone calls R. Kelly was making, all the emails, all the personal information about R. Kelly as he was an inmate. She was leaking all of that information to Tasha K. So it's a lot of bloggers talking about it. That's the reason why I'm not going too deep into it, because there's a lot of people already speaking on it. But I'll read a brief little paragraph on it. Feds investigated whether BOP employee leaked R. Kelly info to blogger. Federal authorities looked into whether a now retired, because the officer is retired, BOP employee leaked information about R&B singer R. Kelly to an entertainment blogger, Tasha K, while Kelly was locked up in Chicago's downtown federal jail, records show. Prosecutors sought a judge's permission in February 2020 to search the employee's computer following a report to the BOP's Office of Internal Affairs that blogger Tasha K has shared information that was available to BOP employees. That's according to an affidavit written by a special agent with the Justice Department's Office of the Inspector General. The affidavit was unsealed in federal court in Chicago August 18th as Kelly's racketeering trial got underway in earnest in Brooklyn. Though it identified Kelly only as Inmate A, it refers to him as a nationally recognized celebrity whose criminal case has received media attention. So, the problem is that the information that Tasha K was receiving, that's why they say all good tea is not good tea. Just because somebody is giving you a story that's popping hot, you got to be careful where they're giving you that information from and how they're giving it to you. Because like I said, all tea is not good tea. And where Tasha K dropped the ball was the information she received was information that only officers or employees within that correctional institution was supposed to only know about. And the problem is she leaked that information on a public platform, which is YouTube. There's 3 videos out there now where she had already snitched on herself, not realizing she was, because she never thought it was going to come to this. She said in the videos for several times, I got this information from a plug. I got this from a tapped call. I got some explosive information. She was basically throwing hints, and she can't get around it because all of that stuff is on YouTube. Every video she's done of R. Kelly, she's admitted in but so many words that she got this information from an insider. So it says, to give y'all an update. Let's see. The female officer who at the time worked as a disciplinary hearing officer at a federal prison in Wisconsin assessed Kelly's records more than 150 times in a 6-month period in 2019, even though the officer was not assigned to the MCC and had no official reason. In other words, the officer that was relaying all of this information to Tasha K, she has no justifiable excuse for doing so. She was in no shape or form authorized to leak that particular situation. So she's not going to be able to leak to leak the information. So there's no excuse or nothing she can possibly say to justify leaking this information to Tasha K. That's what it's saying. The officer, identified as Officer A, also emailed herself. So keep in mind, the feds, from what allegedly I've been told, they have Tasha K's laptop and they have the officer's laptop. Now, anybody who is an expert with laptops and computers, no matter how much you delete or erase something, you can erase it and put it in a recycle box. These computer experts, they still have a way of retrieving any information that you have stored in your laptop. Okay, and this is from the Chicago Tribune, y'all. This is not information from MediaTakeout.com. Okay, this ain't from TMZ, even though I would trust TMZ before I trust MediaTakeout.com. But this is from Chicago Tribune. So this is not something that is made up. Okay, just thought I would tell y'all that. Matter of fact, I'll put it in. I'm gonna put the link in here. So y'all can read it yourself. Y'all can look into it yourself. That's the link. So if y'all want to copy and paste that and just save it in your tab, that way when I'm done with my live, you can click on the link and you're welcome to look into the situation yourself. The officer retired in December 2019, according to the affidavit. She has not been charged. Now, let me also say this. Tasha K and Officer A has not been charged as of yet. Okay. Only thing that is going on right now is that the feds have Tasha K's laptop and they have Officer A's laptop. And they were able to get a warrant from a judge. And one thing about getting a warrant, you can't just go to a judge and say, oh, I think they got something, so I want to go look into their house. No, there's certain elements that have to take place in order for a judge to even approve of a warrant. So basically, the feds have presented enough information to that judge for the judge to say, you know what, yes, go ahead and get Tasha K's laptop. Go ahead and get Officer A's laptop. The feds couldn't just walk up there to the judge and ask for it. You have to break down and prove and show. You have to have several elements before a warrant could be executed where you can confiscate or confiscate any type of property or anything. You have to have a warrant and the judge has to approve of it. So you better believe when the feds, 9 times out of 10, I have an uncle who's been in and out of jail for years. He said, let me tell you something. When the feds come after you, very rarely do the feds make mistakes. He said the feds is the worst people. I'm beyond. Can you attest to that? That usually when the feds get involved, you pretty much out of gas. Cause I know Ambion has been in law enforcement. He know he working the inside. Usually this ain't just a regular officer pulling you over because you have some weed, smell like you had weed in your car or something like that. Usually when the feds get involved, they got plenty of what they need. They say you never want to get caught up with the feds. Feds, that's a whole nother ball game. We ain't talking about an officer who noticed your tag light was out and pulled you over and noticed your license was suspended. Feds, that we federal, that's a whole nother ball game. You don't never want them jokers in your face about nothing. Because when the feds come, they come hard. And what I do respect about the feds are very brilliant in what they do. Because feds, they take their time coming to you. Feds will accumulate so much evidence to where you can't even crawl your way out. The feds, them jokers will watch your behind for a good 5-6 years before they get you. Feds are very smooth. Feds will study you for years before they come at you. They just don't hit you right away now. Feds feds do it smooth with Vaseline. But once they have penetrated, you're going to feel the pain. But when you're under investigation from the feds, they pretty smooth like Vaseline. They bringing the pain to you slow. You don't know you're in pain, but you're going to find out when it's all said and done how much pain you really was in the whole time. So basically nobody's charged. So let me put that out there for anybody who runs and misquotes me. Tasha K has not been charged. Officer A has not been charged. This is a pending investigation. All the stuff is allegedly. This information is received from Chicago Tribune. I'm just giving my personal intake, my personal opinion. I don't have any facts other than Chicago Tribune is a very reliable news source. It's not like I got this from MediaTakeout.com or the Shade Room. The unsealing of the search warrant comes in the middle of Kelly's racketeering trial in New York on charges alleging he was the head of criminal enterprise that for decades recruited girls and young women and held them against their will to satisfy Kelly's illegal sexual appetites. Kelly is identified in the warrant only as Inmate A, though he's described as a nationally recognized celebrity whose criminal case has received media attention. Sources confirmed the investigation and videos referenced in the federal document line up with Kelly-related videos on YouTube. Okay, so basically, it's already been confirmed that a lot of the information that only the jail is supposed to know, Tasha K has spoken on those particular situations in her YouTube videos. In other words, the information that Tasha K shared, no one was supposed to know that information because it was a sealed record within the Chicago Correctional Institution. No one was supposed to know any of those things except for employees, officers, Chicago Correctional Institution staff. So all of that information that she shared on her YouTube channel is illegal. No one was supposed to know of that. What's up, Americania? Okay, so in an email stated Tuesday, a BOP spokesman wrote the bureau could not comment on issues pending. So nobody's been charged. Anything yet is pending. Okay. The documents offer a glimpse into the unbildred cottage industry that has sprung up on social media since the allegations against Kelly exploded in 2019. Since then, Kelly's supporters and detractors have devoted countless hours on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram, parsing every last detail of the singer's life and the charges against him. I ain't going to read all of that. As the trial has been unfolding in New York, one blogger who posts under the name Infamous Sylvia has even been using actors to read aloud from the trial transcripts, creating what she bills as role enactment. But perhaps none of the gossip mongers has been as successful as Tasha K, whose celebrity news dispatches on the YouTube channel Unwind with Tasha K regularly garner hundreds of thousands of views and presumably significant advertising dollars. The 39-year-old Atlanta-based blogger, whose real name is Tasha K, often touts her videos as offering exclusive information and insight into Kelly's world with interviews of key players as well as updates on allegations, including many that go far beyond the most salacious details offered in court. According to the warrant, the warden of Chicago's MCC first reported to BOP Internal Affairs on November 22, 2019 that Tasha K had revealed sensitive law enforcement information regarding the celebrity identified as Kelly, including information that would have been known to BOP employees who had monitored inmate R.Kelly's telephone calls or accessed the recordings of those calls. The warrant mentions 3 specific videos, posted by Tasha K that all are still publicly viewable on YouTube. So in other words, the videos are still up. Among them was a November 8th, 2019 video titled Exclusive, New R.Kelly Enablers Revealed. So I figured since I'm going to talk about Tasha K, least I can do is help out by posting her video here. So y'all can check this out whenever y'all get a chance, where she leaks her information that she got from the inside of the correctional facility. So if y'all copy and paste that and put in Tasha K, it's going to take you directly to that video where she's going to be leaking a lot of information that no one, especially her, should have been distributing, because this was information that's sensitive to law enforcement. So if I'm going to talk about somebody, I might as well go and give her a little shine. Not that she needs it. So basically, she has a video entitled Exclusive, New R.Kelly Enablers Revealed, where she appears to scroll through her cell phone while reading a summary of a recent call between Kelly and Savage that was recorded on the jail system. Now, Savage, I guess, is one of the females that R. Kelly was dealing with, on the outside of the jail. She goes, I got some explosive information, Tasha K says after taking a sip of white wine from a large goblet. So Rob called Jocelyn and she was crying hysterically. She said Azriel was leaving the Trump Tower and she was not coming back. Now, I told you I got an explicit plug, so that is all facts. So Tasha K has already put it out there that I got a plug, I got a connection, I got people from the inside. She's not saying those exact words, but she's putting the hints. She's putting it out there. I got people who knows people who's giving me this information. Because, like most content creators, they want to let you know, because that's their way of making themselves relevant, that I'm the only one who got this information. I'm the only one who's the first to give you this information. That's how they keep their notoriety relevant. Another video posted on December 22nd was titled R. Kelly Released Emails Prove He Couldn't Read or Write, according to the affidavit. The 16-minute video, which had more than 512,000 views as of Tuesday, features Tasha K reading verbatim from emails Kelly purportedly sent from jail to Savage a month earlier, including details of how he misspelled the word high as high, H-A-I. I'm not going to put it up here because this is considered somebody's private information or whatever she says, using air quotes as she looks down on her phone. But you know my word, trust me. Tasha K could not immediately be reached for comment Tuesday. I know she couldn't. A review of Officers A logins to the BOP internal information system, meanwhile, showed that the officer had improperly accessed Kelly's records 153 times between July 15, 2019, when Kelly first arrived. During that time, the officer also assessed and printed out Kelly's, big no-no. During the time, the officer also assessed and printed out Kelly's visitor logs and payments made into and out of his commissary account, which included names of people sending money to Kelly while he was in jail, according to the warrant. Wow. On November 13, 2019, the officer sent herself a 12-page scan of Kelly's jail records from her official BOP email account to Gmail address registered to her. The warrant sought permission to search Officer A's desktop computer for any evidence of a crime, including any internet searches of R. Kelly, as well as financial transactions of discussion of payments with Tasha K. So this gets deep. So what's up, love you? Getting to the point, being a correctional officer. Being a correctional officer, when you work in a correctional facility, you are granted the privilege to access the database of the correctional system. Okay? This particular database, only officers, only those within who are employed at that particular facility has access to. You have nurses in these jails and prisons who have access to inmates' medical records. You have officers such as myself who has access to database in which Every inmate in my facility, I can pull up their record. I can see all of their criminal offenses, even criminal offenses that other people can't pull from a regular background check. I have access to that. So when you're first hired as a correctional officer or a police officer, they let you know up front. It is per policy. It is mandated per policy and procedure that you never use the database for own personal reasons. In other words, if there's an inmate in my facility who I don't like for whatever reason, I can't just pull up his record, print it out, and use it against him, or whatever information I have, I leak it to somebody who may not like them. Because me working in the jail, I have had people who would ask me, so and so, do you know such and such? Yeah, I know him. Is there any way you could pull up his record and see his criminal offenses? No, I cannot release that type of information to you. If I do, then I'm in violation of the policy per court. Me being a correctional officer, I'm in violation if I release any information to you. If you want information about this inmate, you can contact the jail yourself, or you can pay to get his criminal record yourself. I'm not going to release that information to you. What's up, Underrated Darkness? Yeah. So she even only released false information for drama and clout. Yeah, of course. Like I said, all tea is not good tea. And that information right there, but this is what happens. When you become a content creator, you get addicted to numbers. You get addicted to being the first to put a story out. You become infatuated with being top dog, wanting to be the first to cover everything, and you can become so obsessed with wanting to get the story out first that you fail to cross all your T's and dot all your I's, because you want so badly to put out the story first. So being in corrections, they tell you up front, in the process of my training, before I officially got certified as a correctional deputy officer, they tell you up front, you cannot relay and take any personal information of the inmates and release that information. So the way it goes is, as a correctional officer, all of us get what's called our own personal email. Okay, when you first got hired on as a correctional officer, you get your own personal email. This particular email is any information that's related to the jail, not through your Yahoo account, not through your AOL or wherever you get your emails from. This is a specific email that is only given from the jail, from the correctional institution. They will give you your own personal email. When they give you your own personal email, you have access to a lot of valuable personal information. And that is why when it comes to corrections, they so thoroughly check your background. They so thoroughly investigate you, because they're bringing you into a system in which you're going to have a lot of valuable, accessible information about inmates that are very confidential. So this is the reason why the law enforcement system it is so picky about who they hire, because once they employ you as an officer, you basically become vulnerable to the system, because you can leak out anything, you can tell anything. It's a lot of inmates I know who got family members. It's a lot of stuff in there that I know about them that their own family members don't know. And that's only because I have access to a database that relates to me all that information. So every time as an officer, when I open that email and I open up that database, I have access to over 3,000 inmates in that facility. I know where they live. I know all of their social security numbers. I know who their baby mamas are. I know where their baby mamas live. Uh, I know where they used to work at. I know where they currently work at. I know about all their criminal offenses. I can go on one inmate record. Inmate record will tell me where that inmate lives, where that inmate works, all the places that inmate used to work. I even know that inmate's religion. I will know if the inmate is Christian or Muslim. I will know the inmate social security number. I will know how many kids the inmate have. I will know if the inmate is a registered sex offender or not. I have a lot of access, and whenever you're a correctional officer, you have a lot of access to a lot of personal significant information. And they tell you up front, you sign a contract. When you become a correctional officer, you sign a contract and you are under oath. You are told that you cannot release this information. You cannot use this for personal gain. So keep in mind, while Tasha K and Officer A is under investigations, what the what internal affairs, and internal affairs is the department that specifically investigates officers. Anytime an officer is in violation, for instance, if an officer is having sex with an inmate, if an officer is doing anything illegal or unethical, that is what internal affairs. Internal affairs is like the police of the police, if that makes sense to any of y'all in here. So basically, internal affairs, once it's been brought to their attention as an officer that you have leaked or released certain information on the inmate, and there don't have to be a bunch of inmates. All it takes is one inmate. All it takes is one. Once it's been brought to their attention that you are releasing or revealing information about an inmate that nobody else would know about. Now, keep in mind, there are websites you can go to where you can get information on an inmate. You can see their mug shot. You can see what they locked up in there for. Internal affairs, they can't prosecute you, or they can't hold you under fire for speaking information that the general public can get. Anybody can go on a website and look up somebody's mugshots, but there, as far as when it comes to phone calls and it comes to visitors, that's not public information. When you start releasing information to outsiders about who comes to visit an inmate, how much money that inmate has been getting put on the books, now you're releasing confidential information from the correctional institution that's supposed to be the rights of the inmate, because inmates do have rights, regardless if you don't like them, regardless if you don't matter how big your title is as an officer. You could be a lieutenant, you could be a sergeant, you could be just a regular CO. You still are not authorized to release any information regarding to an inmate within a correctional facility. Now, what's going to happen is internal affairs is going to go into Officer A's laptop, which they already have her laptop and Tasha K's laptop. So what's going to happen is they're going to be able to go in her email, the officer and Tasha K. They're going to be able to go into their emails. They're going to be able to see every email, every screenshot, any information that Officer A emailed to Tasha K. What they're going to do is they're going to connect all the dots. So let's say if Tasha K decided to do a story on her YouTube channel displaying R.Kelly getting money from off his books. Well, what they're going to do is they're going to look at Officer A and they're going to match the dates up. They're going to put everything together. And let's say if R.Kelly was receiving, if somebody sent R.Kelly $1,500, if R.Kelly sent somebody $1,500 through his commissary, because inmates can send money. They don't always just have to get money. They can also send money. And let's say R.Kelly decided to send one of his concubines $1,500. Let's say November 8th, he did that. If they go and look back and see Tasha K has done a video November 8th talking about him sending commissary money to other people, and they see the dates match, the exact date, or the dates are not that far-fetched. Put it this way, internal affairs is not stupid. They're not done. They're going to be able to tie all the pieces together. All the information that Tasha K has shared on her platform, they're going to be able to look in Officer A's database. They're going to see that Officer A had been emailing Tasha K R.Kelly's personal information from the correctional institution in which he was incarcerated in. If they see that the officer has sent Tasha K R.Kelly's visitation list, might I add, that's personal information. As an officer, I cannot make a copy of an inmate's visitation list and take it to his baby mama or his side chick because his wife want to know who else been visiting him while he's been incarcerated. I cannot leak that type of information. And believe it or not, you will have people ignorant enough to ask you that. I've had a woman who didn't even know me from scrap, from ain't know me from Adam. I just so happen to have on my corrections uniform. And you have a lot of ignorant people in this world that will ask correctional officers and law enforcement officers to do some stupid stuff. I'm telling you. You have people that don't respect what you do and will ask you some dumb shit. I've had a female out the blue. Do you know a guy named so-and-so Johnson? Yeah, I think, yeah. His name sounds familiar. Well, do you know if some girl by the name of such and such and such been visiting him? Do you really think I'm gonna sit up here and tell you who's visiting your baby daddy that's incarcerated? So you can blow up, get mad, and put my name out there, and I'm terminated over sharing information with you? No, I'm not giving you no visitors list of your jailbird baby daddy. People will ask you stuff like that. That's why a lot of times they tell you when you're on law enforcement or you're a correctional officer, it's better to not even let people know what you do for a living, because people think, they can ask you to just do anything. Levy says, in the meat department. Okay, I'll share your email, underrated darkness and stuff. Y'all, if I'm not posting y'all comments, I'm just trying to make sure I'm trying to stay in one lane. So I'm not disregarding y'all comments, but I'm just trying to make sure I stay on the same page. But this officer, what it sounds like to me is that this officer was getting something out of leaking this information to Tasha K. And in the world of law enforcement, there's a lot of temptation. In the world of corrections, there's a lot of temptation. People will bribe you with things to get certain information out of you. You have people who will pay you if you can just look up something for them, if you could just print out something for them. But that is where your integrity is on the line. And basically for this particular officer was a female, which I'm not surprised. This officer, Tasha K, had to been giving her something for her to leak that. And when it comes to a juicy cover story, some people have no filter on how far they will go to expose somebody else's dirty laundry. And because Tasha K has been the top dog and being the queen of exclusive information, she has become addicted to that to the point to where she doesn't even think twice when she relays information on a certain level. That's information that the information she leaked, that's illegal. That's very illegal. This is not like as exposing R.Kelly got another baby mom or something like that. We're talking about this was information that was from the correctional institution that was not supposed to be leaked. So this woman, this officer was getting something out of it. And I'm sure Tasha K had no problem with breaking off some bread and making sure the stories kept coming, that the officer kept producing tea. I'll produce these funds if you produce this tea. And if the feds find out that Tasha K and this officer had financial transactions, it's going to be on and popping. Now, my thing is, I don't know how far it's going to go. Tasha K may not get locked up. She may not go to prison for it. She may get a slap on the wrist. We don't know the outcome of it, because one thing I've learned working in law enforcement, every time you think certain people, they're going to hammer them for certain offenses, I have seen inmates in my correctional facility, I've seen them with less than 10 ounces of weed. I have to do 10 years, but I've seen child molesters who have been molesting several children for over an extensive amount of years, and they keep letting them back out of jail. So I really have no confidence in the law. We can't say for sure what they're going to do. They may arrest her, or they may just decide to fine her, but the outcome is very sketchy. And I'm not wishing anything bad on her. She's a mother, she's a wife, she has children, but you know, it comes a point where karma has everybody's address. And that's what a lot of these content creators have to understand, because it's not just Tasha K. You have a lot of these content creators that feel as if they are God, they are invincible. They think because they have over millions of subscribers or thousands of subscribers, that they can get away with certain things. They don't think they have a day when they're going to challenge the wrong individual, or the day they get caught up in a scandal that they're not going to be able to crawl out of, that they're not going to be able to lie, manipulate, and come up with excuses. A lot of content creators that become successful, they become very arrogant. And as a content creator, sometimes you can become addicted to the views. And when you become addicted to the views, there's no limit as to how far you will go to continue to keep getting those views. If it takes getting cool with a correctional officer so they could expose information about a celebrity. A lot of these content creators, they have no filter for how far they will go to get a hot topic, to get a juicy story. But like I said, all tea ain't good tea. And as an officer, she definitely compromised her integrity, because she's definitely going to get the hammer, even though she no longer works for that agency. But the truth of the matter is, it don't matter if it's 5, 6, 7 years from now. You have been exposed for sharing confidential information that should have not been disclosed outside that correctional facility. So 9 times out of 10, this female officer, she ain't going down without a fight. You know, she gonna sing like a bird. People do all that big talk till their back is up against the wall. Then they get to singing. She ain't going, if she is to do time, she ain't going to want to do it by herself. Now, again, it depends on the states. Because from my understanding, you know, this is Chicago. But I think Tasha K lives in Wisconsin. If I'm wrong, somebody correct me. I'm not a fan of her, so I don't know where she lives at. So this is a risque situation, because it happened in Chicago, because that's where R.Kelly was incarcerated during the time as an inmate, but she was receiving that information while she was in Wisconsin. So I don't know. Every state is different. The laws are different. The statutes are different. But one thing I do know is a lot of these content creators, they get full on themselves. They get greedy. Once you get used to being top dog, you'll do anything to stay top dog. You don't mind ruining other people's lives to be top dog. True, love you. See how I did Martha Stewart? Yeah. And my thing is, what a lot of these content creators understand is you got to be careful challenging these celebrities. Like, you know, she's been challenging Cardi B for quite some time. You have to be careful with challenging these celebrities because they got a lot of pull. From my understanding, R.Kelly was the one who brought it to the judge's attention and told the judge to look into Tasha K. He said it because Tasha K been kind of poking the bear with R. Kelly for a long time, like she been doing with Cardi B. And she met her match this particular time because now she has a celebrity that's not going back down. That's telling the judge, y'all need to go after this broad. Y'all need to go after her personal information. I have rights as an inmate. And let me tell you something. As slow and ignorant as these inmates are, these inmates, they know their rights. In fact, these inmates, they know their rights better than the officers do. I will kid you not. Even the most dangerous, even the most retarded, even the most mental health, these inmates, they know their rights. The ones that are uneducated, the ones who act slow and stupid, they know their rights. They know what you can do as an officer and what you can't do as an officer. And one thing these inmates do know is that you cannot go leaking their personal information. Now, this is going to be interesting to how it unfolds because hopefully this officer who told who relayed this information to Tasha K, hopefully they don't dig in the database and see that she's been sharing other inmates' personal information. Sometimes when you open a can of worms and you thinking they just gonna find one thing, sometimes they find several things. And hopefully Tasha K don't have no other information on any other celebrities that was been incarcerated, or she don't have any other personal information that's illegal. When it comes to these celebrities, she might have opened a can of worms for herself. Like I said, I don't hate the woman. I don't know nothing about her. I used to be a fan of hers. I used to really love Tasha K's channel until she started getting beside herself. Like a lot of these content creators do. They get beside themselves. They first start off, nobody ain't really checking for them like that. And then once they start winning over some of these minions, once they start getting a fan base, you know, they let their fans boost their ego. You know, a lot of these fans, they become like church members in the chat room. Preach, Pastor. Preach, Pastor Mocha. Tell it, Mocha. Tell it, preacher. You preaching a good word. Tell it, sister. Amen. Hallelujah. You get your audience to cheer you on. I tell you, a lot of content creators have become addicted to praises and profit. And the YouTube game, you will lose yourself because you become addicted to clout. You become addicted to donations, to super chats, to attention. You become addicted to all the love and praises that people are giving you. It gets you on a natural high. And you have a lot of content creators that have become high on clout. A lot of them are high. They wake up every morning, can't even go one day without blogging. Me personally, I can't get up no every day and blog. I got life outside of social media. And to be honest with you, it's always been a concern to me when somebody who's in a relationship, if you're married or you got children and you're constantly blogging, that to me, that's a big sign of, and I could be wrong, but I'm just saying, I feel like There's no way your family, your wife, your husband, your children, they can't be getting a lot of time from you if you are constantly blogging. You have a lot of these content creators, they get up personally. They talk to their subscribers more than people in their real social life. It's not going to get to a point to where every day y'all going to see Mocha posting from her garage on Monday. Then Mocha live streaming on Tuesday from her bedroom. Then Mocha live streaming Wednesday on her way to her doctor's appointment. Then Mocha live streaming, sitting in the goddamn parking lot at Waffle House waiting for my damn cheesesteak omelet. Then Thursday, you see me sitting on my back porch and I'm live streaming again. Then Friday, you see me live streaming on my front porch and going live again. Then Saturday, you get what I'm saying? A lot of these content creators, it's sad, but a lot of them, they don't have a real social life outside of YouTube. It's gotten to the point that if YouTube was to shut down today, a lot of y'all favorite content creators, they're not going to know how to function. Like, you have a lot of these inmates in the correctional system. You know how they've been in prison so long that when they get out into the real world, they cannot function, they cannot adapt. And you know, it's that revolving door where a lot of these inmates keep coming back and forth to jail. They become institutionalized. And I believe a lot of these content creators, they have become institutionalized with the cyber world. They don't know how to function outside of that. There's no way a grown man or a grown woman should have you blog every day from your garage, from your living room, from your car. There's no way your wife is getting your attention. There's no way your husband, there's no way your kids. There's no way when I see a grown man or a grown woman, you constantly live streaming and talking to the camera. I don't care if you're talking about the most interesting topics. You blog every day, all day like that. You have become institutionalized in the cyber world. A lot of them, if YouTube was to shut down, they would jump off the bridge. Now, it's going to be times when y'all may see I don't post for 3-4 days. You know why? Because I have a life outside of YouTube. I got a husband who I have to give my attention to. I have a daughter. If not that, I'm writing books. You know, and y'all already know the type of job I do. I'm pushing. I'm like, half of y'all, you can't be working on real jobs. And in most cases, they're not. That's why they're always begging for donations. If a lot of them was on jobs as much as they were on YouTube, they would be millionaires. And it's sad, but you got a lot of people, I'm going to be frank with y'all. You got a lot of people, they are lonely outside of YouTube. There's no way you sitting up here live streaming and just talking to your fans all the time by yourself. Where's your wife? Where's your children? Why are you sitting in the garage? Why are you sitting in your car? You talk to your subscribers more than your own family, more than your own friends. Because let me tell y'all something. Another thing a lot of y'all do not realize about y'all favorite content creators. Do y'all not realize a lot of people hate them in their real social life? That is the reason why they have become so into talking to their subscribers and live streaming consistently, because people in their real social life don't like them. You'll be surprised how many grown men and grown women, they can communicate and articulate themselves so well on YouTube, but off of YouTube, they cannot hold a conversation one-on-one with a regular human being to save their lives. This social media confidence that they constantly portray when they're live streaming and interacting with you, or when they log off their laptop, they can't even talk to their own wives. They can't even communicate with their own women. I have a problem with men and women who claim they got a man or a woman. You're in a relationship. Why are you live streaming so much? I have a problem with that. I'm going to tell y'all something. Y'all favorite content creators, if they was to log off of YouTube and you were to go sit down and have coffee with them at Starbucks, You would not like them the moment y'all sit down and talk to them, because you have a lot of these content creators. They have a split personality. When they get on the YouTube live stream, something about the camera, something about when they hit that live stream button, they just get in a whole nother goddamn zone when they live streaming. A lot of these content creators, they have a different personality outside of YouTube. They cannot hold a real conversation. Y'all favorite YouTube pastors, y'all favorite red pill, pink pill, these people who y'all worship and y'all tithe to their congregation. If you were to meet them in person, you wouldn't even like them. A lot of people, they are very antisocial in real life. They got more of a social media life than a real social life. And for me personally, I have to have a life outside of social media. I'm not going to be sitting up here on a good day like tonight. I'm only doing this tonight because I've been off for a couple of times. But it's going to be days. You may not hear from me 2-3 days, 4 days. Some of these content creators, because I'm subscribed to some of y'all favorite YouTube pastors. I'm not going to say their names, but I'm surprised. I'm subscribed to some of them, so I can listen to the bullshit they promote. And it's like, I'm constantly getting notifications on my phone. Ding, 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 ding. I'm like, how many times is this dude going to upload a live stream? You don't have a wife? A lot of them claim they got wives, they got kids, they got a family. You can't have a wife. You can't have a girlfriend. You can't have a fiance. Every time I turn around, I'm getting notifications from these certain YouTube pastors on YouTube. I'm like, damn, does he ever take a day off? And some of them will just sit there. Let me tell y'all how bad it has gotten. See, y'all got to be woke. And I know a lot of y'all in here, y'all know what's going on. Y'all just going with the flow and y'all entertaining the bullshit like I do. And that's cool. Sometimes we need a little fucker in our lives. But some of these men and women will will start their live stream. I know some of y'all peep this. It's gotten so bad. They'll just sit there like you company in the living room. Y'all ever peep that? We ain't got to say no names. Have you ever noticed that some of these content creators, they will start a live stream and they'll sit and flop in a chair like you sitting there in the damn living room with them, like y'all getting ready to watch a damn football game? You ever notice that? How casual they are? They'll go live stream and it just sit there. Some of them, they don't even start their topic right away. They'll just sit there. They have made YouTube their company. That's how bad it done got. Yeah, Queen says, yes, I have Mocha. I thought it was just me. They done made YouTube their friend. Let me tell y'all something. A lot of y'all don't even have to take half the disrespect y'all taking, because the truth be told, a lot of these content creators, they wouldn't have a life if it wasn't for y'all. They would not have a life if it wasn't for y'all subscribing to them. A lot of them, they can't even talk to their own husbands and their own wives. A lot of them are miserable outside of YouTube. They are miserable in their own social life. And the only way they can find relevance, the only way they can find contentment, they got the live stream. They have to upload. Early in the morning, you uploading. Late at night, you live streaming. 2-3 times a day. Every day you live streaming. Some people just streaming. I can tell they don't have much to say, but they just want someone to talk to. Let me tell y'all something. You have a lot of lonely content creators. Nobody in a real social life, nobody likes them. A lot of these content creators, they don't have company. They don't have family that come to visit them because they got nasty personalities. A lot of them don't have friends that come and hang out with them. A lot of them don't have homeboys or homegirls that come and hang out with them. It's sad, but a lot of these content creators, YouTube is their life. They have no other life outside of it. Know how many of them? Let me tell you something. Some of them, their life is so lonely. They have lost so many channels and they keep coming back from the dead and they just create a whole nother channel. They can't live without it. All of these same red pill, blue pill that act like they so confident and they don't need social media. If somebody terminate their channel, they don't need YouTube. They raise them back from the grave. They raise it from the dead. They don't produce a whole nother goddamn channel. Oh, you just can't let YouTube go because you don't have no life outside of it, sir, ma'am. You got to create 5 goddamn channels because you so afraid that if you lose one channel, you can't function. So you got a lot of them that done created 5 or 6 damn channels. That's underrated. That's YouTube addiction at its finest. It's this YouTube addiction. That's what happened with Tasha K. You get on this YouTube addiction where you become obsessed with views. Some of them can't go to sleep without live streaming. Some of them can't wake up in the morning without live streaming. Some of them they go through damn YouTube withdrawals when they don't get the live stream for a day. Exactly, love you. I can think of a few people. They just can't live without the YouTube. 5 or 6 channels will be exactly. When they get terminated, they come back with another channel. It's sad, but a lot of content creators, and that's why I try to keep myself balanced and leveled. Sometimes, some days I feel guilty when I have not uploaded for 2-3 days. But I had to realize I got a life outside of social media. I have to take care of home. I have to make sure the home front. You have, I've said this, and I've witnessed one content creator. He was so obsessed with trying to do his live stream. One of his family members, one of his kids, came in and interrupted him. No, I think it was his fiance who came in and told him that there was a family issue. Now, we don't have to say names because his minions may be in here. But he was getting ready to, he had just started his live stream. And his fiance, his wife, or whoever, I don't know what she is because he be on social media so much, so I don't know if he's married or not. But she came in and he snapped on her like she came in to rob him, like she held him at gunpoint. He lost it because he so badly wanted to hurry up and get to his live stream, and he felt interrupted. He lost it. And the reason I can speak on this because I'm guilty of it. I remember one day I was getting ready to start my live stream. And nobody bothered me all day. Nobody bothered me. My husband ain't called me. My daughter, nobody bothered me. So I said, okay, I can go ahead and live stream. I done took care of everybody. I can do what I need to do. And I remember I was in the middle of doing my live stream. The chat room was lit, you know. The content, was just awesome. I had a lot of people come in. I usually don't get a lot of viewers, but this particular night I had a lot of viewers. And I think it was my daughter who called me. And she was like, Mama, what you doing? You know, I said, guys, y'all hold. I told the chat room to hold because I had a phone call. So I picked up. My daughter was like, Mama, I need you to come and get me because I'm broke down. I'm stranded. And I was like, what the, I mean, really? Now that my chat room is lit, I have to stop this good ass live show to go and get you. I was mad. I'm embarrassed to say that, but I'm putting myself out there because I'm letting you know how content creators can become so addicted to their chats, to pleasing the subscribers, to doing a hot topic. You can become so infatuated as a content creator, you lose respect. You're not sensitive to people on the outside of you that's supposed to mean more to you than your content. I didn't show it to y'all, but I was pissed. I was pissed that she interrupted my chat. And I wanted to snap, but I couldn't because she was depending on me. And that's why I'm telling y'all, this internet, a lot of content creators have become so obsessed with the internet. You do not know how to function with your real social life because you become so addicted to social media. It's real. This social media thing is demonic, yo. First thing you do when you wake up, go to your phone. Check your Facebook. Check your Twitter. It's very addicting. That's how a lot of these content creators, just like you got inmates that's institutionalized. You have content creators, they institutionalize as far as social media. They cannot function. They don't have order in their own household, but to sit up here and live stream all day, kicking knowledge and kicking advice like they got all their shit together. But behind closed doors, their household is in disarray. Their marriage is in disarray. Their children is in disarray. There's no way as a grown man or grown woman, you on social media, you uploading, live streaming at least 3-4 times a week and your family not being neglected. I'm not going to believe for a second your family not being neglected. And guess what? It's going to be times where things are going to come up. Like I told y'all, when I had a lit chat room and my daughter called me, I had to stop my chat that was lit to go get her. It should be. But love you. A lot of these content creators, they would jump off the bridge if you only gave them a 3-hour limit. They would jump off the bridge. They have become so addicted to the views and the cash apps and the notoriety and the popularity. What's up, Cicely? They don't know how to function outside of that. These same ones who try to act like they don't need YouTube, they're not dependent on super chats, shut their channel down. And you know what I noticed? The main ones who've been acting like they don't need YouTube, every time their channels got terminated, they re-upload in a whole nother channel. You have a lot of content creators, they are lonely outside of YouTube. Their subscribers are their only friends. Don't get me wrong, I got love for my subscribers, but I got my own friends outside of YouTube who I can call. A lot of them, they have awful personalities. The content creators who y'all worship and adore, they got awful personalities. Their own families don't even deal with them. Why you think they got so much time to be live streaming on YouTube? Because their own family, their own friends, they don't have a social life. And a lot of them have been doing content for so long. They won't even let go and let the younger generation come up and start blogging so they can start transitioning in. You got men over 45 and 50 who've been blogging since they've been in their 30s. and still blogging. I'm like, when you gonna let go of the torch and let the younger generation, somebody who has newer knowledge, who has more refreshed knowledge. You're over 50 and you still blogging. You don't have grandchildren. You and your wife ain't going out of town on trips together. You and your sons, you and your daughters, y'all don't go on family trips. There is no way, I'm not going to believe for a second that any of these female consecrators or male consecrators who claim they got a man or got a woman, you got a family, ain't no way you got a family. And you constantly doing live streams at least 3-4 times out the week. There's no way your wife and your children, your husband ain't getting all your attention. I'm telling y'all, a lot of these youth content creators have become obsessed with YouTube. They can't live without it. You could bet them, you could place a bet and ask them, could they go 2 whole weeks without blogging? They can't do it. They have become addicted to the super chats. They have become addicted to always speaking their mind. And the reason why a lot of them got to keep speaking their mind because nobody else wants to listen to their ass. And let me tell you another thing about these content creators, especially the ones that you notice are always solo. They rarely ever do panels because they have gotten accustomed to always being heard. They don't, a lot, if you really pay attention, some of these male and female content creators, you will notice they are always they're always live streaming by themselves. You'll rarely see them collaborate with anybody. You will just see them sitting there doing all the talking for 2, 3, 4 hours. Won't even have other brothers call in or other women call in, not to disrespect and bash, but the whole an intellectual conversation, because a lot of these individuals, they have depression outside of social media, and the only way they can escape that depression is by doing these live streams for 2 or 3, 4 hours at a time, doing topics on things of the world, so they don't focus on other personal shit that they're really going through. So instead they'll just keep coming on YouTube, live streaming, talking about this topic, then talk about that topic. A lot of these YouTubers, they have learned, a lot of these content creators have learned to use having a platform as a way of escaping their own personal miseries. These same popular male content creators that act like they so confident in the topics that they preach on, same thing with these female content creators that act so confident. A lot of them are very unhappy in their own personal lives. So what a lot of them are doing, they are using their YouTube platform as a way to deflect and escape all the personal things that they're going through. It's like YouTube has become the new outlet for a lot of people to escape their realities. For instance, your favorite male content creator, he could be miserable in his marriage. He could be miserable with his family life, but he's not going to say that. Instead, he's going to keep live streaming to not focus, so he can not have to pay attention to the other areas in his life where he is failing. And the reason, and what a lot of you have to realize, a lot of you subscribers, a lot of you men and women, a lot of y'all are being disrespected and being critiqued heavily by a lot of these content creators, because the truth is a lot of them are not happy in their own personal lives. So what they do is they come to YouTube, use these platforms to bash, other people, to critique other people, to come down on other people. Because listen, everybody doesn't look like what they're going through. I don't care how well dressed a man or a woman is when they come on these YouTube streets, when they're live streaming and doing this content. I don't care if they're well dressed. I don't care if they're wearing bling bling, chains, the brand new designer labels. It does not mean that they are happy. Everybody's not going to look like what they go through. A depressed person don't have to look depressed. A lot of these content creators behind closed doors are struggling in areas that a lot of y'all don't know about. But they come on these platforms and try to act like they're perfectionists, like they don't have other issues they're struggling with. A lot of these male content creators, a lot of these female content creators, a lot of them are struggling with alcoholism. A lot of them are struggling with maintaining their marriages. A lot of them are struggling with maintaining with just their own well-being. A lot of these content creators that y'all worship and praise, you can't focus on the numbers and subscribers they have. Just because you have a lot of subscribers, it does not mean you're happy. Just because you have over 1 million viewers, that does not mean you're happy. We've seen how many successful people you see commit suicide. How many successful people have died over drug overdose. And then when these content creators, they come up dead or they kill themselves with suicide, y'all looking crazy. Y'all can't register. Y'all don't understand it. Well, he didn't act like he was struggling. She didn't act like she was going through what people don't always walk around looking like what they go through. These same men and women who get in these YouTube streets, who go live streaming, talking all cocky and confident, like they got all the answers to everything. A lot of them ain't got the answers to their own personal life. You have people that have become professionals at putting up a facade. And a lot of these content creators, they put up a facade in their own slick, undercover ways. And if you're not woke, you're not going to catch up on it. You're not going to catch up on it. You're not going to pinpoint it. If a man or a woman has to constantly brag about his or her success, that's already a sign of unhappiness right there. Because if you're really happy with your success and you've accomplished a lot, you ain't got to go around rubbing it in other people's face. Another sign of depression, if they are constantly bashing or attacking the same group of people. It's called deflecting. And the Black community, we are professionals at deflecting. We will sit up here and attack a certain group of people when all along there's other stuff we're angry about. There's other stuff we're unhappy about. I can sit up here all night and do content on bashing a group of people to make myself feel, what's up, Samuel Williams? To make myself feel better and to convince my subscribers that I have it all together. But all it is it's helping me to escape other areas of my life where I'm not happy. Because truth be told, all of us are human. And it doesn't matter how successful you are. It's going to be some areas where you're not successful. Yeah, you may be a successful content creator. You may have over 1,000 viewers. You may be getting well over 500 in a night in cash apps. But you better believe of all the success that you flaunting and that you're flossing in front of your subscribers, is other areas in your life that your subscribers don't know about. You could be a man or a woman struggling with your relationship. You could be struggling. You don't have a good relationship with your family. That's why you constantly got the live stream. You constantly have to stay in the company of your subscribers because you don't have a good relationship with your family. You'll be surprised how many of these content creators, they don't get along with their family. When you have a real life, when you bond, when you got family outside of social media, you're not going to be live streaming 3, 4, 5 times a week. Not when you have a family. Not when you have another life outside of YouTube. You're not going to be giving social media all of your social life. And it's sad, but a lot of y'all content creators, they can't function without YouTube. They wouldn't know what to do if YouTube was to shut down. Again, a lot of them had a lot of close calls. A lot of them had channels terminated. A lot of them got their channels flagged, and they still holding on. Damn, YouTube has become like life support for a lot of y'all, these lonely content creators. They are afraid, they are scared to unplug it. They feel like they can't breathe without it. Yep, these same confident, arrogant men and women who want to keep bashing folks and dragging folks through the mud, take away their YouTube channel. They would not be able to survive. They wouldn't be able to function. But I know I've been digressing. But to give my last few points, I definitely wanted to address this Tasha K situation, as I stated. I don't know the content creator. I'm not a friend all for hers. But what I do know is this officer, she got herself in a lot of hot water. Whenever you're in corrections, you cannot release information about another inmate that only the jail knows about. You can't be contributing personal information. An officer cannot be relaying information to a blogger, who the inmate has been getting commissary from, who the inmate has been who's been visiting the inmate. If anything has medically gone wrong to that inmate, you cannot release that type of information. If an inmate was sexually assaulted by another inmate, anything that's pertaining to that inmate, you cannot release that information. You cannot release it to no blogger. You cannot release it to no news outlet. That's confidential information. As an officer, you are under oath, and it is your job to respect the rights of that inmate. And this particular officer, she definitely, even though she's not that officer, even though she has retired, my thing is, this happened in 2019. You retired around 2019. So you must be knew eventually you was going to get caught. Maybe that's why this officer jumped ship. Maybe she felt like giving Tasha K all this information. Maybe she realized I need to jump ship. But you know how many officers have done corrupt things in a correctional institution and call themselves jumping ship, and the law still go back and pick them up? Like for instance, we had a female officer. She was fraternizing with a couple of male inmates. She was putting money on their books. What's up, Daryl Simmons? Probably because we're in different time zones, and usually I don't be up this late. It's going on like 2 a.m. where I'm at. So that's probably why a lot of y'all haven't been, a lot of my subscribers or people who usually attend my live chats, y'all probably haven't seen me because probably we're in different time zones. So that's probably why y'all catching me now. Well, we had this one particular female. She was fraternizing with the inmates. She was putting money on their books, and she was doing a lot of shady stuff. These guys had her going. Because when you do for one inmate, the word travels around fast. And when one inmate has suckered you, these inmates, they love to run their mouth. They want to get brownie points. So these inmates, they'll go back and run their mouth. Yeah, I got Officer Johnson to do all this. Officer Johnson, she put money on my books. These inmates, they smart, but they dumb. They don't know how to keep their personal connections to themselves. If an officer is looking out for you, why would you tell other inmates so they can get in on your connection? But that is what these inmates do. They will run their mouth and tell other inmates, oh, yeah, I got Officer Johnson. Yeah, man, she put me in the mouth. But, oh, it is? So what happened was this particular female inmate, she got blackballed. She looked out for one inmate, and he ran his mouth because he wanted to get brownie points. He told other inmates, so what you think happened when they got the word? Of course, they wanted in on action too. So while she did for him, Now this gives the other inmates an advantage in being vultures. Kind of like if you're driving down a highway and you see a dead carcass, you know how a crow will start eating off that dead carcass, and all of a sudden these 2, 3, 4 other crows in the air are seeing this one crow feast off of one carcass. Guess what? They want to bite too. And what happened was, when the word got around, they did the same thing. So, 9 times out of 10, hey, shorty, look here. Because that's how these inmates talk. Look here, you know what I'm saying? My boy Rick, he already told me you looked out for him and you don't put money on the books. So my thing is, you know what I'm saying? You going to look out for him. I'm going to need you to look out for me. Now, I know you can't afford to lose your job. I know, you know what I'm saying? You got a family, you got to pay bills. I know they paying you good here. So if you don't want me to blow the whistle, you know what I'm saying? I ain't going to say nothing. I ain't even going to tell them that you're looking out for so-and-so if you look out for me. That's how they talk. So what you going to do as an officer when you're in that situation? You thinking like, damn, he already know I done did for one inmate. Now he got me in the palm of his hands, because if I don't look out, he gonna report me. But it's cool. At least it's just 2 of them. All right, so I'll do this one solid. Next thing you know, here come a 3rd inmate. Listen, shorty, I know you looked out for my boy Rick. I know you looked out for my boy Mike. And I know you don't want me, but I will if I got to. I know you getting paid good here. You probably getting benefits. You got to pay bills. But I ain't going to say nothing if you look out for me as well. But if you don't look out, then, I might have to pull that plug. So in your mind, you thinking, all right, well, maybe this would be the last one. Maybe 3 of them. So I'm going to let all y'all get one guess as to how many inmates ended up infiltrating them. I'll let about 3 of y'all in here guess. By the time it was over and done, how many inmates y'all think that infiltrated them? Just throw out a random number. By the time she got exposed and the whistle was blown on her, how many times? Love you the closest one, about 6. And Ruby, it would have been 25 if they wouldn't have got her in time. It was going there. But the jail had to stop it at 6, because had they allowed it to keep going, she would have became a liability to the other officers and the inmates. You get what I'm saying? So even if internal affairs want to see how far it would go, they could not do that, because now it's putting other officers at risk. Because if you already got a female officer, putting money on books and doing all this extra stuff, now that means she has lost her authority. So now she can't write them up when they fuck up. You get what I'm saying? She can't tell them what to do anymore. Do y'all realize how delicate this is? Once they blackballed her, she lost all authority. You can't tell an inmate who's passing commissary, who's doing all kind of dirty stuff in the facility, you can't snitch on them. You don't lost that authority. You can't write them up. Anytime she would have tried to penalize these guys, because as an officer, you got to write them up. You have to use your authority. If you don't use your authority, the correctional institution don't have no purpose for you. So you know them guys would have told her, "You gonna write me up?" They would have ran a muckus on her and her wing. They would have been doing all kind of stuff, and it would not have been nothing she could do to exercise her authority, because you have already started doing favors for these inmates. So now they got the upper hand to blow the whistle on you, to snitch, to report you, or they're putting on other inmates about you. So eventually, Classic, it would have been 25. But they stopped it at 6. Now you putting money on these guys' books. And this how I know you a rookie. Like I said, like what Tasha K and a lot of these people don't understand when it comes to these correctional institutions. They have access to everything. Everything. Do any of y'all not understand that even if you're putting money on somebody's books with your debit card and your name is on that debit card, you think the system can't pull it up and see if you've been making payments to a certain inmate? I don't know why a lot of people think correctional the jails only have access to certain things. She put money on these guys' books and she was using her debit card with her name on it. Yeah, exactly, Cicely. All control is lost. Once the inmates blackball you because you done snuck and did something for one, that's it. There's been times I come in there with food. I might come in there with a small box of pizza, something like that. And I've had one or two of them try me. They jokingly try me because they know I'm not one to do that. Oh, come on, Officer T, man, hook me up with a slice of pizza. Boy, if you don't get out my face, I'm not losing my job over giving you a slice of pizza. I know. I'm just playing. I'm not playing. Only way you're gonna get this pizza, you're gonna have to steal it. You have to wait till I'm not by my desk and steal it. But for me to willingly give it to you when there's cameras all over, absolutely not. She got blackballed. So she did what the other officer did. She quit. She saw it was getting too much. And it probably was way more that was coming at her than the 6 who she got caught with. Once you start rolling that ball, you can't stop it. So it became too much. So she quit. She quit and got another job doing lab work somewhere else, because it was too much. The demands got too high. You can't start these inmates. The demands get too high. You start them on especially illegal stuff. The demands get too high. You start stretching yourself thin. You already putting $20 on this one books. Now the other one, he want $30. Now the other one, he want $50. Now this one, you just put $50. He want another $50. See how greedy these dudes could get? So she called herself quitting. Do you not know they still picked her up from her new job to arrest her? Exactly. Samuel says, hey, you got to understand they're jealous of you anyway, so it's not worth it. Absolutely. Every time you walk into a wing and you over 69, 70 individuals, none of them have their freedom. A lot of them, they burnt bridges on the outside. So some of them don't have family to send them commissary. Some of them have been in and out of jail so much to the point where family don't even fool with them no more. They know that no matter how much they curse you out, no matter how much they might disrespect you, challenge you, they know at the end of the day, you are going home. You're only there for a 12-hour duration. They know that. So a lot of these inmates, they're already envious of the fact that you have something very valuable that they don't have, and that is your freedom. So they don't have nothing to lose. And it starts off with little things. It's not big stuff. It starts off with little things. They'll ask you for a stick of gum. They'll ask you, could you just little stuff, they'll ask you for a stick of gum, they'll ask you for a piece of candy, they'll ask you, it seemed harmless, but these inmates are smart. These inmates know the moment you give them something, even if it's just a stick of gum, okay, you done already fraternized. Now the same slick joker who came talking to you smooth, oh, you looking beautiful today, you looking real nice, I like your hair, who did your nails, who so and so. Man, come on, all that gum, you're not going to look out for me and just give me one piece? Just one? No, I can't give you no one piece of gum. Man, come on, it's just gum. Ain't like, you giving me a doggone plasma screen. Man, come on, stop acting like that. Stop acting uptight like these other officers around here, man. And this is their favorite line. Oh, now you acting like you white. Oh, they love to tell you that. When they can't have their way with you, they want to pull out the race card. Oh, you act just like these white folks. I said, yep, I sure do. My uncle name is Tom and my aunt name is Aunt B. So if you want to pull that card, that's the card we'll go with. She act just like these white people, man. The white people more cool than you. The white people, and the thing is, you could be the most coolest officer in the world, but that one time you don't give them something, you ain't never been good, cool. You ain't never been down like that. And it's just a form of manipulation. And if you are weak, you'll fall prey to it. They'll make you feel bad. Like, man, maybe I am acting a little white. Maybe I am, when really you have to do your job. And you have to realize it's not you that they don't like. It's it's what you represent. A lot of these guys, if I write them up, I don't go through a lot of explosive episodes. Every once in a while, I get a retard that I got to set it off with. But my every day, I don't go through that every day. I don't go through guys disrespecting me every day, throwing piss on me. I don't go through like the HBO Oz series. I don't have a lot of rough days. And for that type of job, really, you should have rough days every single day. I don't have rough days like that. Most of my days be chill because I work night shift. So by the time I get there, they only have 2 hours or some change and they lock down. That's why I love night shift. Because night shift, they don't be out that often. So they'll sit up there, and if you're the kind of female you weak or you love male validation, they'll play them games with you. And come on, you could just give me one piece of gum. Ain't nothing wrong. I mean, you give him that one stick of gum, you might as well go ahead and quit that same day. Because it's on camera. And the other inmates is not, and let me tell you something. Another thing, being an officer is not just the inmate who you do a favor for. It's the inmates who witness who you do a favor for. Them the ones that'll tell on you. Sometimes it's not the inmate who you do for. It's the other inmates who are jealous that you are looking out for this inmate and you're not looking out for them. Yep. By the time I go to work, they are only out from 8:30 and they lock down at 10:30, which is beautiful. Day shift, they are out for like 6 hours, 7 hours. Day shift, they have them out from like 9 to 3. 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3. Yeah. So day shift, they deal with them for like 7 hours. Night shift, we deal with them for 2 hours. That is the reason I will continue to stay on night shift as long as I can. Not only that, they sleep. By the time I get there, they've already had their wreck. They've already worn themselves out throughout the day. So night shift is smooth sailing. Other than you have 1 or 2 idiots that might like to get up and rap and make beats on the doors and do little stuff, but even then at some point their body is going to break down and they're going to go to sleep. Now the only other thing, being a female officer, that you got to be cautious of is jackers. You have guys that you have some of these perverts out here, they like to jack off on female officers. So that, unfortunately, I would say that's one of the disadvantages of being a female officer. But I will say this, I don't go through that a lot because most of the inmates I deal with, they know how I am. I can honestly say, and I'm not bragging, but I'm one. I get a lot of respect. Now, this is not to say it's not going to be one or two that's not going to try. I have had one or two of them try. And when they do try it, I make sure I intentionally embarrass them in front of every man in that unit. Like there was one one true story. There was one night we had an inmate, he was a cleaner. Most of the inmates that are cleaner are good inmates that earn that position because they've never been in a lot of trouble. So there was this one particular guy, one particular inmate. He was a cleaner. He was one of the ones that would assist me with cleaning at night or whatever. So this particular night, he locked down. It was 10:30. I made everybody lock down. Him being the cleaner's probably locked down at like 12 because it takes them like an hour to wipe down the tables, the phones, and all that other stuff. So like I said, my night was chilled. I was walking around doing my security checks. Everything was copacetic. So when I got to my desk, they have it to where if they have an emergency or something, they could press a buzzer in their cell and it will show you the room number of that cell that's buzzing you. So on my control panel, it'll tell me if it's cell 23 or cell 34. It lets me know what cell is buzzing me. So most of the inmates know because I make it clear to them, do not hit my buzzer at night unless it's an emergency. Because some of them, if you don't address that, they'll hit the buzzer just so they can talk to you, just so they can hold a conversation with you. So some of them, they just be wanting company, and I let them know, this ain't Match.com. Do not hit my buzzer 11, 12 something that night unless you got an emergency and unless you need a nurse. Other than that, don't buzz me about nothing. Because my job is not to keep you company through the night, to not comfort you through the night. They already know how I am. Don't buzz me unless it's an emergency. So this particular night, he decided to buzz me. Okay, so I'm thinking maybe he needs a nurse. Maybe he doesn't medical. He's having breathing difficulty. So I get up to the stairs, approach his cell. This idiot pulls out his penis and starts like stroking it in front of me, right? So I know I'm on camera. I have to give my directives. And that's when I said, Mr. So-and-so, I'm advising you to put your penis away. Mr. So-and-so, I'm ordering you to stop stroking your penis. Mr. So-and-so, I'm asking you. Once I give my 3 directives and it's on camera, it's curtains, right? So at this point, I'm pissed, like any woman would be. I'm pissed off, right? So mind you, it's about 1 or 2 something in the morning, but the majority of the inmates are still up. They just laying in their beds, but they are up. So at this point, because you tried to humiliate me, I'm going to humiliate you. So I knew the majority of the guys were up. So I said, at this point, I'm going to sucker punch him in his manhood. I'm going to embarrass him since he tried me. So after I gave my directives, coincidentally, his last name is Mac. The inmate's last name is Mac, M-A-C-K. So when I gave my directives and I told him to put his penis away and to stop stroking his penis, stop masturbating, I also said before I left from his cell, because I already knew I was going to write him up, and he was going to go to the hole in the morning. Anytime a inmate is jacking off on a female officer, they automatically go to the hole. Ain't no ifs, ands, or buts about it. So I go and says to him, I said, oh, I see why they call you Mac. You ain't Big Mac, you a Mac Nugget, huh? When I said that, all of the guys in the wing was dying laughing. They was laughing their asses off when I called him Mac Nugget. I said, oh, you ain't packing no Big Mac, you packing a Mac Nugget. That's why your last name is Mac Nugget. When I said that, all of the guys in that whole unit laughed. They just thought it was hilarious. What's up, Link? Yeah, kind of sort of on vacation, if you want to call it that. Battling this little COVID thing. So I intentionally embarrassed him in front of all of those guys. And that's why I said what I said. And keep in mind, the very next morning, they ended up coming into the wing and they escorted him, and they took him to the hole. But on his way going out, one of the guys was like, "Oh, so you leaving McNugget?" So in this job, you know what I'm saying, you just have to, even when you being disrespected, um you still have to be professional, but it's a way you can put your foot on their neck, but at the same time you still got to keep your composure. And that's what I had to do. So I don't go through that a lot. You got a lot of new female officers, the rookies, they go through that a lot until they really put their foots down. But I've been there for a minute, so I don't go through a lot of that. I pretty much done made my way there, so I don't go through a lot of that. Yeah, but as a female officer, you will go through dudes trying to masturbate on you. You got to realize you have pedophiles in there, you have rapists in there, you have men that, and some of them ain't even rapists or pedophiles. Believe it or not, in some cases it's regular guys who don't even have a track record of being a rapist or a pedophile that will pull out their Johnson on you. And then there's others, when they do that and you look up their record and you see they're a registered sex offender, it makes sense to you. You have some men just have demonic sexual urges, and they lack discipline. You have some men, they got so much demon in their semen, they're very demonic sexually, and they have no control over how to keep their sexual infatuation in check. You have a lot of these guys out here who are battling and struggling with that. And that's why every year, or you're hearing somebody getting exposed as being a child molester. You're hearing somebody being exposed as for statutory rape. You have a lot of men, not all men, but you have a lot of these men who are demonically sexually perverse, and they allow their penis to do all the thinking for them, and they don't have a time or place in which they will use it. Some of these men are more demonically perverse than others, to the point to where they will intentionally prowl the streets looking for a woman to rape and take advantage of. It's demon in the semen. And I say it all the time. Some of these dudes got demon in the semen to where they got to get it off, they got to get it off on a child. They got to get it off on a woman that's been working 12 hours and it's 2-3 in the morning in the parking lot. She just trying to walk to her car so she can get home. And here it is, this damn pedophile, this demonically sexually perverse dude that's hiding in the bushes. He comes out to attack her, approaches her at gunpoint, puts her in a position of where she has to cooperate with him because she fears for her life. You have a lot of that out there, and these are the individuals that we are surrounded around. And I understand that a lot of people, when I tell them the type of profession I do, they can be very judgmental at times. Like, why would you do something like this? Why? It's not safe. You're around all these rapists. You're around all of these these pedophiles. It's not a safe job. Honestly, truth be told, female officers are more safer in the jail than they are in the streets. I'm gonna tell you why. It sounds crazy, but at least in the jail, I know who the child molesters are. I know who the rapists are. I know who the registered sex offenders. I have a database that I can go by, so I know when it comes to certain inmates. Okay, I got them. I practice all safety measures with any of them. I don't care if you just sitting there from stealing something from out of Home Depot. I'm going to perform the same safety measures for a shoplifter than I would a rapist. But with a rapist, I'm going to be way more alert. So unlike female officers in the jail and women in the street, woman in the street, she doesn't know what she's up against. but at least I know what I'm up against when I'm in that jail. And the thing about it is, if something were to happen, I have access to which I can hit a button on my radio and I have 30, 40 officers flooding in there like it's a riot. So in the jail, I'm never by myself. Even when I'm in the wing, walking through and doing security checks, I am never by myself. There's thousands of other officers in that building. So if something jumps off, I'm going to always have backup. Unlike being an officer in the street, I'm going to have to wait 5 or 8 minutes. By the time the squad car gets there, in the jail, all the officers just have to go to that particular wing versus an officer I got to wait on in the street. So the safety measure is not as bad as people think. And again, I'm in a jail. I'm not in a prison. There's a difference. So I have more safety in the jail than I do working outside the jail. You know, because at least the inmates are confined, and it's a controlled environment. They don't have weapons. They don't have knives for the most part. Yeah, you have to be certified to carry a taser. So yeah, usually the way it works, while you're in the wing, you have other officers in the central part, which is in the middle of the wings. So if something jumps off, you can call a code on your radio. They'll be there in like 1 minute. So you're never alone. But yes, most of the officers there are taser certified. But at least in the streets, like I said, I know who the rapists are. In the jail, I know who the rapists are. When you're in them streets, you don't know who a rapist is. You don't know who the child molesters are. You just think they're regular men because they're well-dressed or whatever. You don't know what you're up against. But in the jail, as crazy as it sounds, it is safer because at least I know what I'm up against. You know, I got the records. I have plenty of information to know what type of inmate I'm dealing with. You know, so, but yeah, there's a whole lot that you have to be cautious of as a correctional officer. But I will say this correctional officer that gave Tasha K all of this information pertaining to R.Kelly, I know she's got to be in an uncomfortable position because feds is investigating all of that stuff. They're looking at Tasha K's laptop and they're looking at officer's laptop. And like I said, anything can happen. Tasha K may get off. She may get a slap on the wrist. She may, nothing may become of it. Or something very well could become of it. It's still a pending investigation. No one has got charged yet. But what a lot of these content creators got to realize, you got to be very careful, especially when you're going behind these especially when you're going behind these celebrities, because these celebrities have money and they can shut you down. The R.Kelly, Cardi B, you know, all of these celebrities she's been going after, her money will never stretch like theirs. They have the money that can shut her down, you know, and this is not to degrade or put down what she does, but she's just a YouTube blogger. So your social status is not near as extravagant as R. Kelly is. So you can't go after these celebrities and think that they're going to back down and let you expose confidential information or you expose slander and lies. She's still got the Cardi B thing pending. That's not over with yet. And you can't be going after these celebrities because they got money. You know, they can shut you down, you know, depending on what type of information. Yeah, so I mean, you know, like I said, I'm not putting down what she does, but as the stating goes, anything for clout. These content creators that have become addicted to the clout and the views. They have no limits as to how far they will go to dig up slander. It's happened, and it's not just Tasha K. Several of them have done it. It's been a couple of YouTubers that lost their channels. I mean, content creators that lost their channels because they exploited the wrong information or they slandered. Talk show host Wendy Williams. Wendy Williams had been sued several times. leaking information, about certain celebrities, um, leaking information, and rumors that was false that could have caused them to lose their brand, their sponsors. But if this thing goes left, Tasha K does stand a lot to lose. She has a lot of sponsors. And it took her years to build her platform to where it is. All of us that are content creators, we know it takes years for your platform to really flourish and grow. But the main thing is not even so much that, she could always, if push come to shove, do her own website. But this is something that could cost her freedom. She's a wife. She's a mother. I personally think, they're not going to arrest her, but they're going to do so much other stuff to the point to where she is not going to be the same blogger she used to be. If she dodges this bullet, I will be really, really shocked, because when it comes to the criminal justice system, that's something you don't play with. You don't leak any personal information. They're going to have to make an example out of somebody, because her and that officer, they definitely committed a major violation by releasing R.Kelly's information, because he was an inmate. And on top of that, he was a celebrity. Now, keep in mind, these celebrities as inmates, their lives are more in danger compared to ordinary inmates. Could you imagine putting all that information out about R. Kelly? He's a celebrity. He already got a trial coming up, and you already leaking all type of information while he's already up against some heavy accusations. And on top of that, he got to deal with any information in the jail that should be confidential and private. Now that's being leaked out. And I don't, this is not looking good. Like I said, I'll be really surprised if nothing happens. But this is not looking good. Not when they already have your laptop and they're looking to see how much information you had got on this inmate. And then on top of that, Tasha K still got videos up of R. Kelly where she low-key snitched. She self-incriminated herself, to be honest with you. She told on herself. Maybe a journalist, but the problem is she done got so addicted to views and clout. That'd be a downgrade for her to be a journalist. She done got used to that attention. She done got used to that notoriety. I don't think she's going to be able to adjust. If they was to terminate her channel and shut it down, she would not be able to adjust and do anything else. Because what did I tell y'all earlier? What was we talking about earlier? Didn't I tell y'all content creators have become institutionalized to social media? They can't function without it. There's been a couple of, won't say any names, but content creators who have left YouTube, and once you thought they were dead and gone, they pop up and got OnlyFans. They still on social media. They just using other platforms. You can't keep poking the bear. Tasha K kept poking the bear. She kept making content about R. Kelly over and over and over. These celebrities, the way they money stretch, they can hire the best of the best attorneys. They can hire the best of the best investigators. Link, some of them, they just never go away. I say that's true. I'm just saying that if the law sees her as a journalist, then she has freedom of the press. So they can't prosecute or punish her for publishing true info that is leaked from a source. Yeah, that's true. But the problem is the source that she got it from. Now, had it been any other person, the fact that she possibly paid, that's the other issue. Allegedly, Tasha K paid this woman for R. Kelly's personal information from the jail. Yeah, I'm with you, Samuel, on that one. I think once he got locked up, she should have just kind of did it. She should have just kind of did. First of all, he didn't even go to trial yet. And it's bad enough as a celebrity when you have to go to trial and somebody is steadily putting all type of information that it can taint your chances of beating the case. Especially when you have a platform as huge as Tasha K. Tasha K got a huge platform. It's not like somebody like Rinky Dinky me who talking about R. Kelly. Nobody cares. I got under 5,000 subscribers, so I'm not a threat to his case or his trial. I'm not big enough, but a lot of these content creators, they have to be careful. When you have a huge platform, you got to watch your ass more than somebody with a struggle platform. What's up, Rashad Lewis? I have a struggle platform, so I'm not a threat. Cardi B and R. Kelly, they're not going to care if I talk about them. I don't get enough viewers to tarnish their case. Link said, so how did Tommy S get away with sleeping with all these women he speak bad about? Did any of them come to haunt him? Just asking. That's interesting question. Interesting question. But this here is a totally different ball game because it involves the feds. An officer gave her information that is illegal. So, this is a whole horse of another color. Yes, but journalists pay their sources all the time for photos and hard comments, so that's not really abnormal. They can and will fire the officer, but I doubt Tasha's in trouble. Yeah, I don't like I said, it depends on so many factors, Ruby, because it depends on the states. It depends on the statutes of the states, the law. It depends on that jail. Every jail is different. Some jails are more strict on certain things than other things. So that's why I said again, we still don't know how far it's going to go. No one has been charged yet. She hasn't been charged as of yet. But definitely we know the officer is definitely going to be on hot water. We know that much. With Tasha K, that's an up in the air type of thing. But the law is so fickle. We have never been allowed to get away with certain stuff. And I'm gonna say that as nice as I can. We don't have the complexion for the connection. If probably anybody else could get away with it. We don't know if that same fate gonna land for her, because we have never been allowed to get away with certain things that other individuals have been able to get away with. This could be the one time they decide to make an example out of somebody. Because see, the problem is she mentioned all this stuff on her platform. So if she doesn't, like I said, it may not lead to an arrest, but it could lead to her losing her channel. And her channel, that is how she makes a living. So it's more than one way this can come back to haunt her. She may not deal with the arrest part of it, but YouTube eventually gonna wash their hands with it, because believe it or not, YouTube is involved now, because as the feds get deeper into this, they're gonna go through YouTube to get all of this video footage and put all the pieces together. And we don't own YouTube. And when they see how deep and ugly this is getting, they may want to wash their hands with it and terminate a channel. Like, this is just bringing too much heat. Whether she get arrested or not, it's the fact that YouTube might get to a point to where they may be done with it. Like, We don't want no parts of this. We got the feds involved because YouTube, she's not a major asset to YouTube. And I don't say that disrespectfully, meaning that they not losing nothing by dropping her. YouTube still gonna make their millions. She's not the golden ticket to the YouTube industry. Now she's one of the few that are very successful, but over time, YouTube not going to keep, having to deal with issues that's causing her content to be investigated by the feds. So that's something else you got to think about. But you made a good point, Ruby. That's where I'm kind of iffy at, because that's what I'm trying to figure out. I'm kind of in the same bracket where Ruby is. I'm trying to figure out, like, how would they be able to charge Tasha K when she is just a blogger and she initially received the information from an officer who was under oath. Tasha K wasn't under oath. She was not a law enforcement officer. So this is where it's going to get interesting, because how are they going to charge a blogger who got this information from another officer that was under oath? However, being that she has acknowledged and dropped hints, and the fact she did relay this information, they can use that against her within itself, even though it came from another source. Okay, it came from another source, but you paid this source. And this was illegal, even though you have a right to use whatever resources you can for a hot story, even though you have the right to use whatever sources for a hot story. The problem is this was illegal. This person you got the resource from, that information was illegally obtained. And even though that officer was the one who submitted that information to you, you paid that officer to give you that information. And not only you paid that officer to give you that information, you actually admitted, you self-incriminate. Tasha K self-incriminated herself by saying, she got it from a phone tap. She got it from an inside source. She basically dropped hints and reference, and you think the feds ain't gonna look at all the information that the officer submitted to her, and they're gonna put all the dates together and say, okay, yeah, we know Tasha K used all of this information because all of the information the officer sent her, all of the content she's done, the dates are around the same time, and all of the elements, all of the details she gave within her content, it matches up with the information that the officer had received from the jail. So it's going to be interesting. That's a good point, Ruby. That's what I'm not sure of. That's why I'm saying allegedly, because we don't know. I'm really not figuring out how they could get her when it was the officer who did it. But feds is a whole nother story. When you're talking about feds, who says exactly, Mocha, Tasha didn't break the law by accepting and broadcasting information. Your source as a journalist can be anybody. There's no restriction on that. It's been established. But if another thing though, if you think about it, how many journalists have you heard got an officer or somebody that's law enforcement official? I've never heard a journalist get anything from a law enforcement officer and admitted that they got it from a law enforcement officer. Most journalists are very discreet about who their sources are, because for one, they don't want other journalists being able to benefit from those resources. Because I'm sure even journalists got guidelines. Even as a journalist, they probably got guidelines with, okay, even if you are getting sources, it can't involve law enforcement. It can't involve. I'm sure that even they have rules and restrictions and limitations. Even a journalist can't just use what she want to use any kind of way. Even with a journalist, there's restrictions. And that's something I will have to research. But it's a bunch of ways to look at it. But like I said, I won't be surprised if nothing really won't become of this. So before anybody get their panties in a bunch, and start throwing confetti for Tasha's farewell, Tasha K's farewell, she may dodge a bullet. Now, I did look this up. Do journalists have access to law enforcement information? Personal information is severely restricted to certain identified groups. Journalists and the general public do not have access to personal information that's including law enforcement, private investigators, and employers. So it's going to be interesting because from what I read here, certain journalists is just certain information you're not supposed to get. It's going to be interesting, classic, but I really would like to know because that's how I'm looking at it. I just don't see how Tasha K gonna get penalized when it's the officer who did it. All she did was pay the officer. The officer was the dummy who sat up here and leaked it and released it. So it's gonna be interesting. But either way the outcome goes, the only thing I'm hoping from this experience, I'm just hoping she humbles herself. Because I really feel like if Tasha K gets over on this one and she slides by and she gets off, it's just gonna make her more arrogant. It's gonna make her feel more invincible. Now she's really gonna feel like she can disrespect these celebrities. She can air all their dirty laundry. She may really get even more beside herself. Some people, when they have close calls, they don't humble themselves. They get every more cocky, they get every more confident. Then they got this attitude where I can't be touched, ain't nothing gonna happen to me. If I got away with A, B, C, D, and E, ain't nobody gonna touch me. I'm just hoping the experience just humbles her and it gives her a wake-up call, like, okay, I need to go about this in a different way. I mean, still do your gossiping like you've been doing, but even when you're in a position where you get to air so much dirty laundry, at least have some type of compassion, because karma has a way of biting you. I mean, look at Wendy Williams. Wendy Williams went for years. Airing everybody's dirty laundry. Now, any ladies in here who's been a fan of Wendy Williams, we have heard Wendy Williams do her hot topics, exposing all these celebrity divorces, exposing all these celebrities who had marital issues, only to find out all along her marriage was in more trouble than the damn celebrities she was airing dirty laundry she was airing. Look at what happened with Wendy Williams. Wendy Williams has so much to say about everybody's marriage, about everybody's relationship, about everybody's husband, and when it all boiled down to her own husband, ended up humiliating her and embarrassing her. Barriers to information access and constraints caused by public, government, hostility, and journalists. This is going to be interesting rules. I'm just interested in wanting to know how this go, because I want to know, as a blogger, can you be penalized for receiving information from a law enforcement officer? So this is going to be interesting. Um, Love you says, yes, she has a nice base, but ease up on the people privacy. And then some people call her. Yeah, she just, like I said, a lot of these content creators, they start elevating in the game, and they start smelling themselves, and they get cocky and figure, they could drag anybody through the mud. Yeah, that's how Link. That's kind of how I perceive R. Kelly. I see him as a nature boy type of situation. You're doing. Yeah, but this is gonna be interesting, y'all. But time will tell. Like I said, hopefully things work out in her favor, and it probably will. And if it does, hopefully it makes her a more humble person. Hopefully it brings her a lot more compassion to where she will, change how she goes about. I mean, don't change your topics, of course. That's what's making your money, but hopefully she has a little bit more compassion for the people she likes to drag through the mud, especially the celebrities that already are going through and got to go and battle with court and stuff. I mean, there's other stuff she could be addressing right now. R. Kelly's going through a trial. He has a whole lot on his plate, and this is just not the time to be poking with somebody that's already down on it at their lowest. Even if it's going to make a good hot topic story. You know what I mean? So, well, now she's getting to see what it feels like. She's seeing all these bloggers, everybody dragging her through the mud for getting this information the way she got it. So, like I said, karma has everybody's address. So we'll see how this turns out, y'all. So I'll be keeping up, and whatever the outcome is, I'll definitely do a part two. If the feds doesn't decide to prosecute her and everything goes well, and she still has her channel, life goes on, I'm gonna do a part two on that. If it does not go well, of course, I'm gonna do a part two on it and give my intake on that. So we'll just see what the outcome is. Again, I ain't praying on nobody's downfall. You know, people bring their own karma upon themselves. You don't have to curse anybody. You don't have to wish for anything bad to happen to anyone. Karma is going to work as mojo anyway. You don't have to you know push for another person's downfall. If it's in the cards and they put a lot of negative energy out there, they're going to get what's due to them. So at this point in time, it's going to have to be the grace of God that's going to have to see Tasha K through this. If not, then she's going to have to man up, as they would say, and deal with the chips as they may. And she's a tough cookie. I believe however it go, I believe it'll make her a better person. I believe if it happens to where she is shut down and she loses everything, I think she's going to become a better woman behind it. I really do. So anyway, y'all, I thank y'all for hanging out with me. I appreciate y'all for hanging out in the chat. Yeah, so we don't know. It depends on YouTube, but then again, YouTube is making a lot of money through her channel as well. So, we don't know, but at the same time, first time for everything. The one time you think YouTube ain't gonna do nothing, it'll be the one time they do something. And then everybody's like, what? We didn't see that coming. We didn't think they would do that. You never know, because we don't own YouTube, but we'll see how it goes. But I definitely want to thank Classic, love you. Link, I want to thank all y'all for hanging out in the chat room. I know a couple of people left because this has been a long stream. I've covered a lot of different things, but yeah, definitely I don't want to, like I said, I don't want to drag this Tasha K too much to me, because it's just too many loopholes. It's not enough information really to go on to make a final conclusion. It's still a lot of loopholes because they don't really know if this woman paid Tasha K. It's still so much uncertainty. It's not enough to really go on. Everybody's making conclusions as if everything has been gathered. it ain't no telling what else is going to come out of this. So, again, everybody's just making their own speculation off of the little information that they do have. So we will see in due time how it turns out. But I'm definitely glad y'all hung out with me. And again, anybody who's in law enforcement, it's very imperative that you do not use information of victims, of inmates, of suspects. You do not disclose that information to anyone. You are under the oath of the law. And other people may get spared some leniency, but anytime you take oath in the office, you will never be spared the same level of leniency compared to somebody who does not have a badge, who is not up under the authority of law enforcement. So please be very mindful of the information that you disclose. Even if bloggers are bribing you, they're paying you, you have family members, you have people who want information on certain loved ones in a correctional facility, you cannot disclose that information, because once it gets out, you as the officer, you're going to have to deal with internal affairs. You're going to be the one that's going to lose your certification as an officer. And most of the time, when you lose your certification as an officer, you can never get back into law enforcement. Or if you are granted the privilege to get back in law enforcement, you have to go through a whole nother state, which means you got to start all over to earn your certification, which could really be a pain in the neck. So to all my law enforcement personnel, just be very careful about relaying information to certain people. So anyway, y'all be blessed. Y'all take care. It's been awesome. Talk to y'all soon. But remember, I always break you off a slice of knowledge. Y'all take care. Be blessed.